6 na dekada na nang magsimula ang Vibal bilang isang educational publishing company. 6 na dekada nang nasa serbisyo ng paggawa ng learning materials upang mabigyan ng magandang bukas ang kabataan. Muli pang nabuksan ang aming mga mata sa isang panibagong misyon. Sa loob ng ilang buwan, nakasama namin kayo sa pagkatuto. Isang natatanging pagkakataong ngayon lang namin naranasan. Salamat sa pagsama sa amin sa pagtahak tungo sa bagong normal. Mula sa aming libreng online CPD training hanggang sa aming live learning sessions araw-araw.
Each phase of the development of module must be considered with quality assurance.
Ang mga bata ngayon ay may ibang paraan ng pagkatuto.
There are 3 words that you have to keep in mind when it comes to metacognition, and that is ART, and that's art.
The learning competencies under the attitude domain were deleted as this may be subsumed.
Nakatanggap kami ng limpak-limpak na pasasalamat mula sa inyo. Halos hindi na nga namin mabilang. Pero kung may dapat mang pasalamatan, kayo yun. Salamat sa inyong dedikasyon at pagmamahal sa pagkatuto. Dahil sa inyo, nasasabik kami sa panibagong araw para matulungan pa kayong pag-ibayuhin pa ang inyong pagmamahal sa pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Salamat sa pagsama sa amin sa bawat araw na nagdaan. Mula sa mga session kung paano kakayanin ang pagsubok na dala ng pandemya hanggang sa muling pagbangon at pagtanggap sa bagong normal. Salamat sa pagpapakita sa aming kakayanin nating matuto at makabangong muli basta tayo'y magkakasama. Sa muling pagbubukas ng klase, panahon na para ipagpatuloy ang nasimulan. Sasamahan namin kayo. Nandito lang ang Vibal, nakaalalay sa inyo.
Good day, Kavibal, and welcome to our Learn at Home Facebook Live. For the discussion today, the topic will be on Nanay at Tatay ko, mga guro ko. Tips for parents in creating a positive educational experience for students. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning, Kavibal? And now, to proceed with our webinar this evening, It is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. Marian Kris A. Castor is a Dean's Lister in Our Lady of Fatima University that graduated Bachelor of Science in Nursing 2008. She gathered her professional education units in City of Malabon University. She also completed her academic requirements for Master of Arts in Education, major in Administration and Supervision, and Governor Andres Pascual College. She's a module writer under the Division of Malabon, a master teacher in English in Longos National High School. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Miss Marian Kris A. Castor.
Good evening, mga kabibat. So for this evening, I'll be sharing my screen first. Okay. 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 For this evening, our topic would be Nanay at Tatay ko, mga guro ko, tips in creating a positive educational experience for students. I am Mrs. Marian Kris A. Castor once again. I am also a mother of 3. Therefore, I can actually relate with our topic for this evening. So to begin with, I would like first to greet every teacher who's here with us in FB Live. A happy World Teachers Day, and sa lahat din po ng mga nanay at tatay na naka-experience maging guro kaninang umaga. Dahil alam naman po natin that the opening of the school year started early this morning. So lahat po tayo kanina ay naka-experience kung ano ba ang mangyayari for the whole school year for 2020 to 2021. And with that, let us now proceed with our discussion. So bago po natin palawagin ang ating discussion, I'll be showing you some pictures or illustrations. For us, I want you to actually question yourself. Can you relate with the given illustrations? Kayo po ba, naranasan niyo po ba ito kaninang umaga while actually assisting your own children at home? So to begin with our illustration, let us have the first picture. Yan. So nakikita po natin, we have here, okay, both mothers na napaka-busy sa gawaing bahay. Meron pong nagluluto, naglalaba, namamalansya, nagsasampay. And on the other half, nakikita po natin, meron pong isang nanay na nagtatrabaho at sabay-sabay po niyang ginagawa. So can you relate? Kayo po ba, na-experience niyo po ba yan kaninang umaga? So if you do so, you may actually hit the like button or type yes sa ating chat box. Okay? Sa nanay, possible din po, isa din po sa ating scenario ay meron din tayong mga cases na meron tayong single father. So can you relate with this illustration? Na-experience nyo rin po ba yan kanina, mga daddy, mga tatay? Na kailangan nyo pong gumawa or magtrabaho and at the same time, kailangan nyo pa pong tulungan ang inyong mga anak sa pagsagot ng kanilang module at pag-attend ng kanilang online class. So yan po ang ating core for this evening. Yan po ang gusto nating may address or gusto nating mabigyan kayo ng assistance. How are you going to manage your time while doing these things and at the same time, teach your children? Yan. Or baka po, kayo po ito. Did you experience having difficulties sa pagpasok sa online class? Yung mga nanay po na nahihilo na kung ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng G Suite, paulit-ulit pong binabanggit ng teacher. Yan po. So possible din po na na-experience nyo ito kaninang umaga, no? And for those who were studying siguro sa private school, baka po earlier pa. And then, another illustration, ito po. Are you also having a hard time? Sabay niyo po bang nag-aaral ang anak niyo kanina? Naranasan niyo po ba yan kanina? Or possible din naman po na baka si parent po ay nakatapos ng grade 4. And then, the children are already in high school. So papaano kaya natin ito masusolusyonan? So if your answer is actually yes, if you can relate with the given illustrations, please bear with me and stay during our seminar. And I hope that you can learn something out of this. Okay? So our main objective para po sa gabing ito ay, number 1, it is to identify the difficulties encountered by the parents or guardians. We have to identify and accept that there are some difficulties. Especially, nasa transition po tayo ng adjustment going with online classes. So we have to address these things. Next one, able parent or guardians to actually let the students focus and let them be engaged or interested while learning from home. And then the last one would be make room for parent or guardian's well-being. It is nice to know that we're taking good care of our kids bilang mga magulang, pero syempre po, kailangan din po nating alagaan ang ating mga sarili. So hindi po natin pwedeng i-neglect na dahil tayo ang nanay, tayo ang tatay, kailangan lagi all out. So health is wealth as always. We have to keep that and bear that in mind. Okay? So with that, let us start with the core of our discussion. That is going to rotate or evolve in the 10 tips in creating a positive educational experience for the students. For our first tip, this is the common thing that was given by the teacher in a classroom setup. Ito po ang unang-unang ginagawa namin. Okay? To actually avoid chaos inside the classroom. So pwede rin po natin itong gawin sa loob ng ating mga tahanan. At yan po ay ang pagbibigay ng rules. So how are we going to give rules? Is it important na tayo lang ba ang gagawa ng rules and that the kids will just simply have to follow? So ang iniiwasan po natin sa pagsiset ng rules ay ang pagiging dictator or yung dadating na dictator ang ating mga magulang. Para po magkaroon tayo ng smooth relationship with our kids, it is very important that we have to include them. Including our kids in creating rules will actually give them responsibility of obeying the rules itself. Mas maganda po na sa paggawa nyo or pag-set nyo ng rules inside sa inyong mga tahanan, okay, ay meron po kayong agreement ng bata. So ito po ang example. Number 1, as simple as this, gumising ng maaga. Or siguro po rather, masimulan natin sa matulog ng maaga. Dahil ang mga bata sa ngayon, no, napakalawak ng kanilang screen time sa paggamit ng cellphone. Most of the time, mas gising sila sa gabi kesa sa umaga at inaabot po sila ng umaga. So, as simple as this, gumising sila ng maaga. Number 2, sundin ang schedule. Ang schedule was actually analyzed by the Department of Education. Sa public po, it is from 7 to 1 p.m. So, pinag-aralan po itong mabuti kung saan maipapasok ang learning at pangangailangan ng mga bata sa pang-araw-araw nilang gawain. And then third, no cellphone during class hours. So, mas maganda rin po, this is just a mere suggestion, pero pwede nyo po itong i-customize. Depende po sa mapapag-usapan ninyo ng anak ninyo. And way better, dahil alam nila na sila ay papasok din at mag-online class, way better if they actually know ano po ba ang mga rules na dapat nilang gawin. You may just simply ask them, so anak, ano ba ang rules pag ikaw ay mag-online class na? So maganda na meron kayong set of rules coming from them, like muting themselves once na they enter na, find a quiet place, have a positive attitude, always treat others with respect. As simple as that, maiiwasan nyo ang chaos sa loob ng tahanan kapag you have a set of rules. Okay, for our next step, you need to have what we call a study corner. Study corner is a must-have. Katulad po inside sa loob ng classroom. Ang bawat bata ay may designated place or designated na upuan saan doon siya nilalagay ni teacher. the child actually considered that place as his own or her own. So therefore, alam niya or nako-condition kagad ang bata na siya ay kailangang mag-aral once na siya ay umupo na sa lugar na yon. It doesn't necessarily mean na kailangan na ang ating study corner or place ay isang classroom or isang kwarto. Alam naman natin here in the Philippines that the spaces are limited inside our house. So therefore, okay, I'll be showing you some illustrations or pictures whereas makikita nyo, okay, a simple table will do as long as meron siyang cellphone holder or a corner at home na dun po nakalagay ang inyong computer or isang area, look at our illustration sa baba, na meron pong nakalagay na ng mga classroom rules or rules na napag-usapan ninyo. Meron din po ditong mga naka-indicate na poster whereas the students do not have to use mobile phones while they're actually doing their online study or habang sila ay nagsasagot ng kanilang module. Then a study corner, okay, actually sharpens the mind and improves the concentration of the children, especially for the young ones. So maganda po itong pag-condition sa bata na siya ay kailangang mag-aral pag siya ay umupo na in that specific area. Okay, next we have tip number 3. You need to have what we call a daily routine. Okay, and how are we going to do that? Number 1 is to actually get the class schedule from the class advisors of your children. Okay din po na magkaroon kayo ng parang mini play with your class schedule. Gumawa po kayo ng checkbox whereas you can actually put a check mark sa bawat araw whereas they have completed their tasks. So para involved pa rin sila. And I strongly suggest if you have younger kids, you have to post the class schedule on the wall. It will actually help you and your kids keep track on what are the things that you're already done with and what are the things that you still have to accomplish for that week. While for teenagers naman po, you can ask them to actually maximize the use of their cell phones. They have to use the applications. There are a lot of applications that they can use to manage their calendars. So as simple as this one, in our presentation, you can see there is a sample calendar. I think they just simply have to put their activities so they will be guided all throughout the week. So this is very, very important. It can help you a lot as well as it can also develop the discipline, okay, of independent learning among your children. Next, tip number 4 is to actually have what we call have a realistic expectations. As parent, we cannot be with our kids 24/7. Accept na natin yan. So we need to work. We need to actually earn for a living to provide for them. But as much as possible, kung kaya naman, you have your window time, you still have to fulfill your task as a parent. So how are you going to provide realistic expectations? First things first, you have to list down things. What are those things? Number 1, okay, tell them what are your working hours. It is very important that your kids know that you do not neglect them. Hindi niyo sila pinapabayaan. It's just they have or you have to work. Kaya kailangan na meron kayong no disruption time. Ibig sabihin, hindi nila kayo pwedeng istorbohin. So dapat specific kayo dyan sa oras na yan. You talk to them, anak, this is my working hours. You have to set them and make them realize na it is a part of your everyday task. Next, aside from working hours, you also have to give them naman your free time. You also have to mingle with your kids, bond with them. Tell them that you can help them with their tasks during these window hours or kung ano man yung libreng oras. Then you just also have to list things that your kids can do independently. Ano ba ang mga pwedeng gawin ng anak mo while you were working to manage your time? Okay, for you to become productive at the same time. So, here is a suggestion coming from me personally, being a teacher and at the same time a mom. You can actually visit the Bibal shops. They have a lot of activities there or interactive books that you can actually buy eventually, and then you can ask them to do it on their own. For those naman po who are having their modules already, especially if you're studying in public school, you can actually ask them to scan their modules right away. Their modules is actually designed for self-paced or independent learning. So in the module, you can see what we call supplementary learning materials. I understand na yung ibang parents, you're having a hard time teaching the module because you do not know ano ba ang nakalagay sa module na ipinapamigay ng DepEd. So here are some examples or parts, what are the things that you can see inside the module of your children. So in the module, sa module po ng anak ninyo, just to give you an overview, you can see what we call expectations. Sa expectations, those are the objectives that you have to actually attain. Yan yung mga kailangan na ma-achieve ninyo towards the end of the quarter or towards the end of the module. Then next, you will also see some pretest. Ang pretest po ay nakalagay sa module ng bata para po sila ay ma-test or ma-assess kung meron na ba silang prior knowledge dun sa lesson na kanilang pag-aaralan. And then for look back also, these are the lessons that they were able to discuss ahead of time. So, babalikan lang nila, this is good as recall, ano ba yung mga napag-aralan na. In this one, this is very important, the brief introduction. Ano ba yung mga content or ano ba yung mga dapat pag-aralan sa loob ng module? Most of the parents, kapag nakita ang module, ang ginagawa, sabihin sa mga anak, iwasan po natin to mga mommies and daddies, iwasan po natin na sabihin na, sige, sagutan mo na lang kung ano yung tanong dyan. That is a big no-no. You have to guide them. Each and every part, what was actually indicated in the module because it has a role. So for the brief introduction, this is good as the lesson proper or the discussion of the teacher. In the brief introduction in the module of your children, kailangan po natin itong basahin because in the brief introduction, it also contains what we call examples. Okay? And most of the times, in the activities of your students, makukuha na po kagad nila yung sagot if nagbasa sila ng introduction to the lesson. Okay? And then, for the activities, that is actually set for them to have the mastery of the topic. Yan po ay nakalagay para po sila ay mas mahasa pa. For the remembering part naman po, it is good as generalization. Ano ba lahat ng pinag-aralan niya or ano bang lahat ng diniscuss for the brief introduction at ano ba ang skill na minamaster ng bata. Okay, you can see that in the remembering part. And then the next one would be the checking of understanding. I strongly suggest, sabi ko kanina, you have your work hours, you also have your free time, and then you ask them to do tasks independently. So for this supplementary learning materials, kung sumasagot ang bata ng module sa bahay, I strongly suggest you allow them to answer up to this part sa checking of understanding. Because for the checking of understanding, makikita nyo kagad if the child is having difficulty. Kung nahihirapan ba ang anak ninyo, hinayaan nyo silang sumagot ng module. So hanggang checking of understanding, pinagbigyan nyo sila on their own. And then eventually, you have to guide them. Papasok na dito yung inyo free time. You have to guide them, check what they have accomplished, check their activities, and then kapag nakita nyo yung sablay ang checking of understanding, you have to go back. So dito lang, bago tayo mag-proceed sa post-test, you have to already reteach the student with the brief introduction. It simply means in-skip nila yan or hindi sila nagbasa. Ang ginawa lang ng bata ay sumagot na sumagot. Okay? And then eventually, after the checking of understanding, hopefully, by that time, they will be able to actually accomplish and get the mastery skill that you are aiming for. Okay? So, the module are very useful. Nakadesign po yan for independent learning. And we do hope na sana po ay mag-guide pa rin natin sila. Hindi po natin hayaan na ibigay lang sa kanila ang module and then sila na po ang bahala sumagot. Okay? Next one, let us encourage what we call self-regulation. Pag sinabi natin encourage self-regulation, let us actually have a designated place. Designated place for what? Number one, designated for a place for the toys. Kasi young kids are easily distracted. Madalis po silang ma-distract, especially if nasa paligid lang ang laruan. So during class hours, make sure that you keep the toys away from younger kids. And the next one, para po sa meron namang mga teenagers na, you have to actually have a designated place for the cellphone. Kahit po tayo, honestly speaking, once na tayo ay nag-scan with the social media, okay, hindi na natin namamalayan yung oras. Mabilis po talaga na maubos yung oras, no? Kapag scan mo lang ng social media, kukulangin ka na sa oras. So for the child to have focus, you have to put these things away from them. Okay? Is do role playing. In doing role playing, this is very beneficial. There are some kids na hindi sila ganun ka-active when it comes with recitation. There are also some kids na hindi po active pagdating sa, or hindi po sila interested pagdating sa written. Okay? But when it comes with role playing, they're very much active. So, in doing this, you can also take advantage because you can bond with your kids. Aside from that, I have listed here some benefits of what we call role playing. Number one, it brings out imagination and creativity on the part of your kids. They need this. Okay? Because as we can see, we are surrounded of negativity, especially now that we're experiencing pandemic. And we owe them the childhood. Kahit hindi sila nakakalabas, we have to make sure that they're still enjoying inside the house. Next, you can actually get benefited from role playing by knowing the personality of your children. Kita mo dito. For example, you're going to play teacher-teacheran. What do they like? Are they going to choose being the teacher or being the student? Or if you are going to play cashier-kashiran, as simple as that, no? So, do they want to play the cashier to compute or to punch those things? So that's also, it will also tell you something about the personality of your kids. Next, it also develops cooperation and teamwork. In doing role-playing, especially if maraming bata sa loob ng bahay, that is very good kasi it can develop their socialization skills. Especially now na limited ang ating chance for them to socialize dahil hindi nga po sila makabas, and most of the time they can only see their classmates online. So for those who are going online classes, sa screen lang din nila nakikita yung mga kalaro nila. And they need that. They need to actually mingle with other people, no? So as much as possible, ma-address pa rin natin yung part na yon para at least they will still grow holistically. Next, your kids may learn and have fun at the same time. So this is the best part of role playing. The best part is actually learning while having fun, kung saan hindi sila nakakaramdam ng kahit na anong pressure. Marami po tayong nakikita sa social media that there are kids na actually umiiyak because they kind of feel pressure dahil sa ating adjustment sa pagkakaroon ng online class, sa pagsasubmit ng patong-patong na activities, sa kailangan nilang i-accomplish, okay, every day. So, wag nating tanggalin yung pagkakaroon nila ng chance to have fun while at the same time learning. Okay? And lastly, you may actually identify the multiple intelligences of your kids by this role playing. So once I say multiple intelligences, okay, this model is from Howard Gardner, Theory of Multiple Intelligences. Okay, it actually evolves with 8 different categories. The first one is for the body smart. Malalaman nyo dito if your kids are bodily kinesthetic or active. If your kids like to dance, yan. Ibig sabihin, they are body smart. Next, if they are also people smart. Once you say people smart, these are the kids na napaka-friendly. Ganyan ba po ang anak ninyo? People smart ba sila? Hindi sila mahiyain. Iwan mo yan sa isang tabi and then eventually pagbalik mo may kaibigan na. Okay? Next is word smart. Possible din po na through role playing, ma-realize mo na meron ka palang newscaster or news anchor in the making. Or meron ka palang writer in the making because your kids love to write. Next, possible din po na ang anak ninyo ay maging logic smart. If your kids are interested sa pag-analyze ng situation, pag-solve ng mga puzzle, gamit ng scientific process, pag-solve ng mathematical equations, no? It simply means that your children are logic smart. Next, do they have a green thumb? Mahilig ba sila sa halaman? So it simply means na sila ay nature smart. Next is for self-smart. If your kids actually like working independently and they can actually perform well kahit na mag-isa lang, kaya niyang mag-solo kahit wala siyang kasama, okay? It simply means na siya ay self-smart. Then possible din na malaman ninyo through role-playing na ang inyong anak ay teacher smart. Focus on illustrations, magaling mag-art, magaling mag-drawing. So possible din na ma-identify nyo na siya pala ay teacher smart. And then the last one would be music smart. Kapag nakita nyo na ang anak nyo ay gusto lagi, kapag kayo ay nagro-role playing, no? Gusto niya yung may part siya nakakanta, or gagamit ng mga musical instruments, it simply means that that your child is actually inclined in having musical intelligence or siya ay music smart. And hindi po nalilimit ang intelligence ng ating anak sa iisa lang. Possible na siya ay body smart, music smart, and teacher smart at the same time. So that is important. Bilang magulang, we have to know our children. We have to know their strengths, their interests, for us to be able to get across or remain within their circle, especially kapag sila ay lumalaki na. Mabilis lang po ang oras. So, for us to hold on with our kids, we really have to understand how they think, how they feel, and how they act. Okay? Next, moving on, is to know your kids better. Know your kids better, not just in a sense na, okay, na-identify ko, mahilig siyang kumanta. Siya ay music smart. Pero hindi po doon natatapos yun. Knowing our kids better simply means that we have to have constant communication. Constant communication is the key to a successful relationship. Bilang nanay at tatay ng mga batang iyan, kailangan ay patuloy pa rin ang ating communication with them. Consistent po dapat. Hindi dapat siya abrupt na ngayon mo lang naisipan, ngayon mo lang siya kakausapin. No? So we have to keep on talking to them. To your kids, what are the things? For example, if you have younger kids, as simple as asking what is their favorite subject, or what is their least favorite subject, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're weak with that subject kaya siya ay least favorite niya. So you have to know these things. And then you need to have follow-up questions. Do not ask questions that can be answerable by yes or no or close-ended. Na single answer lang, okay na. Instead, you have to ask open-ended communication para dire-diretso. Simultaneous ang exchange of information. Do not just talk, okay? Do not just talk, you also have to act. And how are you going to act? By actually doing something to enhance your skills and make the least favorite subject become more interesting. You can actually combine it together. For example, my kid likes science, no? Interested siya in the planets, in astronomy, he likes that. But then he hates English. Okay, he gets bored by actually reading. Tinatamad siyang magbasa. So what did I do? Ang ginawa ko ay bumili ako ng English science book. So as simple as buying that book, na-engage siya, and na-address or na-enhance ko pa yung knowledge niya with the planets or astrology. So with those kinds of things, we can address the needs of our kids. And another thing, you can also seek advice coming from the teachers. Teachers have a lot of different strategies whereas mai-engage ang students as well as hindi nila mamamalayan that they were already learning. Okay? So that is a good strategy. And paano po if ayaw po akong kausapin or hindi na kasi bata? This can only works kapag ang anak ninyo ay maliit pa. Paano po yan? Medyo malaki na yung anak ko, may sarili na mundo. So if you can no longer talk with your kids, that is a sign for SOS, sabi natin kanina, no? We can always talk to their teachers and seek help. So constant communication is very important. Sabi nga natin, the key to a successful relationship is constant communication. So, blended learning, kahit na gaano pa po kaganda ang prinopose ng isang eskwelahan, kung walang partnership between the parents and the teachers, it is not going to be successful. So, constant communication is actually essential. And as parents, we have the rights, okay, to know the progress of our kids. And as a teacher, we also have the obligation to inform the parents kung ano na ba ang nangyayari sa bata. We have to identify the strengths, the weaknesses, and how can we actually both enhance and improve those areas. Okay? Next. So have appreciate our kids' work. That is for tip number 8. It is very important that the kids actually feel special. Okay, they need to feel appreciated at all times, especially if your kids are still young. So kindly look at this. I have here some illustrations. Okay, whereas the parents are allowing the kids to actually post the pictures or their artworks in the walls. Okay? By doing this, okay, we are displaying their work. It makes them feel special. And for teens, you can actually organize it by keeping their outputs. So, are you doing this, mga mommies? Ginagawa nyo rin po ba ito sa inyong mga tahanan? It is very important that you give them, okay, time and appreciate their work. Kasi they actually felt love kapag ginagawa natin to. So these are some of the artworks of my mentor, Madonna Bantu, and my own daughter. Ayan po. Next, for older ones, dahil ayaw na nilang nakakalat, you can actually keep their output. It doesn't necessarily mean na dahil na medyo malaki na, okay, tatapon na kagad or babaliwalain na natin siya. You can still keep it and organize their output. By doing that, mas na-appreciate nila yun. And mabilis lang po ang oras. Hindi natin namamalayan, no? Napapag-iwanan or kasing laki na natin yung mga anak natin. So you have to appreciate them or make them feel that they are appreciated. These are some of the artworks of Kenzie Abelia. Okay, he's a very smart student and his mom is actually keeping everything organized inside the envelope. So that is one good practice. Maganda po yung practice. Okay, next one. You can also give daily dose of praises. Once I say daily dose of praises, it is not as simple as giving very good or okay or job well done. It's not as simple as that. Kasi minsan, if you keep on saying it repeatedly, it becomes meaningless. Walang pinagkaiba sa isang student na lagi mong sinasabihan ng very good, very good. They used to it na eh. So you have to think of new technique. How can you make them feel good? And that is very important. Lalo na po tayo bilang nanay, no? Para ma-manage natin yung oras natin as well as mabigyan pa rin natin ng importansya yung anak natin, we still have to think of some ideas like this one, okay? We can actually take time to observe, okay? For example, they draw something. You can say praises or you can give tips specifically. For example, okay, ang ganda ng drawing mo anak, pero baka mas okay kung mas lalagyan mo pa yan ng kulay. Okay? So doon pa lang makikita na kagad ng bata that you give details. Or binibigyan mo talaga ng importansya yung gawa niya. And you can also give comments but in a sandwich approach whereas positive muna, tapos pasok ka ng konting positive criticism, and then yung ending ay maganda pa rin. Okay? So that's very important also. At least hindi niya mafe-feel na nineglect and at the same time, binibigyan mo siya ng tip, how can he or she improve his work? And let us make them realize, okay, that it is not about being the best or the worst. It is about trying or being open-minded to get better. As long as they tried and they learned something from that, is good. Okay? Kasi there are some cases where as nagpapakita ang bata ng quiz sa anak. Okay? Ang comment ng magulang, nakita niya yung score 6 out of 10 ay okay. Okay? Nagpakita yung bata, 3 out of 10 ay okay. Nagpakita ulit yung bata, 10 out of 10 ay okay. So, they will feel less motivated and less appreciated if ganun tayo mag-react. Unlike if you're going to give specific phrases, na for example, nakita mo na 6 out of 10, okay anak, sige, you have to study harder para sa susunod, mas tumaas pa. And then nakita mo nag 3 out of 10, anak, baka kailangan mong magdagdag pa ng oras or mas kailangan mo pang mag-aral. Saan ka ba nahihirapan? Baka pwede nating tignan. Or nakita mo 10 out of 10, okay anak, this is very good. So because you are very good, you deserve something. So by doing that, you can actually give importance and make them feel na talagang involved ka or you're really concerned sa kanilang ginagawa. So that is very, very important. Next, know help or know when to seek help. Bilang parent, okay, it is important that we know when to ask for help. You cannot do it on your own. Hindi mo kayang gawin lahat. Okay? Parents are actually the first educators and everybody will agree with that. Lahat talaga ng magulang, yan ang unang guro. Yan ang unang-unang nagturo sa atin paano magsalita, paano lumakad, paano hunang humawak ng lapis. Lahat ng mga bagay, okay, ay natutunan natin dahil sa ating mga magulang. But let us keep in mind that parents are not trained educators. Hindi lahat ng magulang, unless if you are professional teacher or you are in the field of education. So, if that is the case, these parents actually needs what we call assistance. Okay, because even professional educators, I myself, okay, my mentor also, my co-teachers, when we talk with one another, we all agree that it is very difficult. Given the situation that we're currently facing with COVID-19, it is very difficult to fulfill your task as a teacher and at the same time as a parent. So we are trying to help one another, and I would like to acknowledge each and every parent who's watching here with us. Congratulations, because you know that there is something or you lack something. That's why you keep on trying to search or to learn some ideas. How can you actually change or fulfill those lacking attributes? So, Bibal also heard our cries, Nanay and Tatay, no? So, Bibal come up with an idea whereas they develop what we call learn-at-home kits. Bibal actually provided a free starter kit, whereas it contains academic books, it also has text booklets, it also has activity sheets, it also has supplements, and especially it has at home guide. So this learn at home kits is provided for free. So libre po siya. And it can also run for 10 weeks, whereas you can actually use it as a strategy. Pwede nyo siyang gamitin dun sa binabanggit ko kanina, di ba, na meron kayong working hours, meron din kayong free time, and then meron din dapat independent learning time ang student natin. So you can use these learn home kits provided by Bibal, and it can help your kids as well as you to actually proceed and make this blended learning or distance learning successful. So with that, I would like to ask our parents if you have any more questions.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now we will proceed to our question and answer portion. Our first question is from Violeta Solano. Paano po kung hindi afford ng parents na mabigyan ng study corner ang kanilang anak dahil maliit ang kanilang space at tatlo silang sabay-sabay na nasa online class?
Okay. So napakagandang tanong kasi that is actually our reality eh. So I do understand kung saan nanggagaling ang hugot ni nanay. So number one, Nay, hindi naman po kailangan na meron silang kanya-kanya talagang table. You designate one area kung saan meron silang isang table, tapos they can actually use it or pwede silang mag-share. Pwede naman nilang paghati-hatian yung kung saan man yung space, pero mas importante na meron pa rin pong specific or designated na pag dun sila naupo, it simply means na kailangan na nilang sumagot or mag-aral. Para po nasiset natin or nakukondisyon ng bata.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is from Russell Espiritu. Paano naman ang mga parents na walang pakialam sa kanilang anak basta nag-enroll lang ang bata? How can be a child more motivated to do the home learning?
Okay. It is actually very difficult for me to answer that, no? Kasi I actually felt bad for those kinds of kids na hindi masyado napapansin ng mga magulang. But then eventually, sabi ko nga, we are not in this alone. Hindi po nag-iisa rin ang estudyante. Nandiyan ang kanilang mga pangalawa magulang. Nandiyan ang mga guro. Teachers are the second parents of the students, and as teachers, we have the obligation to provide the best learning experience that our students can get.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Another question from Christine Maliwat. Do you have any tips po for parents that are working or kaya naman po yung mga students na nakatira sa kanilang mga grandparents?
Okay. First and foremost, there are a lot of learning kits that the students can actually use. And there are also applications that are downloadable for free na pwede pong magamit ng mga bata. Wag na po tayong lumayo. Yung kanina pong binabanggit ko, yung Learn at Home Kit coming from Bibal, it is a good tool kung saan meron na po siyang nakalagay na teaching guide. So kahit po si lola or nakakatandang kapatid ang kasama ng bata, meron pong specific or details doon kung papaano nyo po dapat ituro or papaano dapat sagutan ng bata mag-isa yung mga activities, supplementary materials, and other things like worksheets.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That's all the questions we have for now. And last reminders to our viewers for today po.
Okay, so to end my talk for this evening, I would just like to read a quote coming from Matthew Jacobson that behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believes first. So as a parent, keep loving your kids and God bless us. God bless us.
There we have it. In behalf of Vibal Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for today for this very eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today, ma'am. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. We also encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official Vibal Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat. Mula sa Vibal Group Incorporated, Happy World Teachers Day mga ka-Vibal!